Hi, Dominic. How you doing, man? 9/11. Good to see you. Boy, today, do I have a story for you guys. Uh, Dominic, the other day I was trying to figure out some way that working with Agenor that we could make a repertoire egalite. I'm thinking, well, I see. Let me get a hold of Dominic. Well, I bet we could make one like we did the residents. Found out it's a little harder though. Oh, hey, Michael, how's it going? Alex, neighbor, good to see you. Nice having some nice weather now. Abdul, hi, Jimmy. Rancher, my goodness, it's you're up and early there. Hey, I saw this Lee's spread in Oklahoma. There are parts of Oklahoma that are really gorgeous. Probably more parts than just where Lee lives, but I thought that was really cool. Hi, John. Are you allowed a certain deduction annually if you stayed for a long period in another country? I don't know. Some countries that may be. I don't know whether it's true in ours or not, or yours, John. Okie doke. Well, shall we start? Let me tell you why this came up. The other day, I got every now and then I see a watch that I thought, man, I shouldn't get it, but I do anyway. And there was this one, and it wasn't super expensive. It was around 1,500. And so I thought, well, I'm going to go and get it. It was coming from Japan. All right. It's actually a French watch, but it was a Swiss watch. Okay. So it's labeled as a Swiss watch. When I went to get it at Chrono 24, I was told, by the way, you should know that there's a 39% tariff on this, and you can cancel if you want. Well, that really surprised me. It wasn't a new watch. It was coming from Japan, and they have I think about a 15% tariff, which is I don't want to get going on that, but not good. So I thought, maybe we ought to kick around this whole thing because um, the one of the things I suspect, I fear, and given the way everything else works, I think that some of the shipping companies, maybe all of the shipping companies, are taking advantage of this because I was sent some watches a little while back, and I got this huge bill from FedEx. What? It's just a couple little watches, but they were coming back from repair, and why would that be so expensive? But it was, and so I sort of fluffed it off. But once I found out, I mean, I wasn't sure, but I'm sure now that in the US, if you buy anything from Switzerland, there's a 39% tariff, in addition to any state taxes you may be paying. So, things are sort of creeping up there. We'll end up with, you know, close to 50% kinds of taxes and tariffs and so forth. Now, the difference is that if I bought the same watch and I had a chance of, but I was miffed by the seller here in the US. If I'd gone to him for exactly the same watch, I would have had no tariff at all. Um, so what are you going to do? Um, I don't know. I mean, at some point, the Swiss stock in the U.S. is going to run out, and what I'm hoping against hope is that they come to some kind of agreement on tariffs. The one of the things they say the tariffs are based on is trade imbalance. I just looked it up right before. The population of Switzerland is a little under 9 million. The population of the United States is 340 million. Actually, it's 340.1 million. That's 38 times the size of Switzerland. And so, yeah, there's probably a lot more of us who are going to be buying stuff from the Swiss. It's beside watches, there's a lot of pharmaceutical stuff we buy. But tariffs never was a good answer. Now, what about VAT? Well, VAT, you guys who have it probably know this better than anyone, is that it it's sort of a great advantage to those of us. If I buy something from England, I don't pay VAT. If they ship it here, I don't pay VAT, or from Germany or from Switzerland, really. In fact, the Swiss are very good about returning LRIC's money that we pay that for watches that are going outside of the country. But I think this is the reason I'm bringing this up today is that Americans, we've been pretty lucky as far as taxes and VATs and things like that. You wouldn't think so listening to us complain, but it's true. So, so now we have this new thing, and that's one of the things I'm very concerned about. This is going to screw up the all of the trade agreements and international trade with us, at least for us too. So anyway, I thought, well, this would be a terrible thing to discuss on a Saturday morning. I don't know. Hey, Michael, Fernando, how you guys doing? Hey, Brian, good day. How's the dog? The dog, the daughter. You got everything, Brian. Rancher, never attribute to conspiracy what can be explained by incompetence. I tell you, yeah, that our current government put a tariffs on two little island countries that are populated by nothing but penguins. So we know that we got some sharp guys. Those penguins are holding out on us. It's crazy. Oh boy. Yeah, it's twisted. It's crazy. I mean, it really doesn't make any sense. I mean, the punitive tariffs to begin with, and that doesn't lead to anything. I see no kind of uh it would be cheaper to fly them, put them on a wrist. That is not out of the. I just hope they come to some agreement, like the EU did, and everybody else with this. Hold their breath until there's another election. Hey, Tuna. Yeah, you're right about that. Hey, Canadian Watch Monkey, good to see you. How's real estate up there these days? Yeah, the thing about VATs, this is the difference, is that if you buy a watch, any watch in Canada, you pay the VAT. If it's shipped in, you pay the VAT. There's VATs all over the place. I'm not a big fan of VATs either. I'm not a fan. I'm very much a fan of everybody paying their fair share, and that's about it. A large American pickup truck in Switzerland or the UK, for that matter, would be a nightmare to drive and run. Yeah, it probably would be. Well, they've got, I mean, my God, when I was in Switzerland, I saw all kinds of iPhones, all kinds of uh, Mac portables, Mac laptops, and I mean, they got all kinds of stuff. I wouldn't be surprised, just in terms of sheer number of watches, if the Swiss didn't buy more iPhones than we bought Swiss watches. We're a little group, really, and we spend a stupid amount on on watches, whether there's any taxes or not, because the we like certain kinds of watches, and they cost a lot because they take time. Okay, what do you got? Hey, Jimmy. The problem is if watch companies raise prices to compensate, they won't reduce even if the tariffs are removed. Everybody loses. Oh no, I bet they will. I don't think that's true. In the past, when they reduced it, the price has gone down. So I know they're not exactly. We're not dealing with a bunch of soiled doves when it comes to making money at watch companies, Jimmy. But remember when we were a colony, we weren't even allowed to make anything. That's right. That Dominic's right. Those mean old English. We were under the gun. Things have changed since then. This is one of the things is that people are sort of harking back. Oh, I remember the good old days. Well, the good old days, first of all, I'm old enough to have gone through a lot of good old days, and they weren't as good as people think they were. And second of all, is that we live in a different time. I mean, everything, where the world's changed, there's no more, just everything has changed so much, and they will continue to change. And I think this is why it's important to be, not to go use some ancient tool that didn't work in the first place. We've got to recognize things and really look at it in a different way. It requires people a lot smarter than I am, but at least I can see. Oh, I don't know. Maybe Dominic's right. Hey, John, just administering the various taxes and others are a pure nightmare. I agree with that, John. God, I feel that's one thing. If I can feel sorry for the FedEx and DHL who have managed to screw up so many things. Has anybody noticed the increase in prices yet? And watch AD for boutique. I'll tell you something. That's a good point, Michael. Some of them are going to have to eat it for a while, but 39%. There has been the problem we're going to see. Well, first of all, they've been jacking up prices so much with some of the top luxury watches. It's hard to tell whether they're because of a tariff or because they can. Um, there was something I read about Mark Zuckerberg, who could buy any watch he wanted. He could buy any watch company he wanted. Was wearing $1 million Grubel Force. And I think, well, the guy's got good taste in watches. That's one thing. He's not, slapping on some gaudy watch and, trying to show off how rich he is. He did get a good watch, though. So you've got people like that it doesn't really matter. They got so much money that it doesn't affect him. Um, the the whole line about, oh boy, if we have tariffs, we're going to, have all this money available and so we don't have to have the same taxes. Well, it doesn't work that way. It never has. And it's sort of, there's many ways to hide taxes. I don't want to go into that. I just want to figure this was a good thing that we can complain about this morning, or at least try to understand, because how uh, Armin Strom, bless their heart, did something really cool before the tariffs kicked in, especially big ones. They shipped a whole bunch of stuff to the U.S., so it'd be somehow produced in the US. It's a good idea. But I mean, that's not sustainable. You can get by, maybe it's enough to get by until the next election or until they come up with some agreement. The penguins, I didn't know that the Chinese had penguins. They're little red and white penguins, followers of Mao Zedong. Hey, Lee, there he is. Granddad our taxes. That's a tough one. Tuna. Actually, Britain put a tariff on those newfangled mass-produced American pocket watches. Yeah, at one time, the Swiss were very concerned about Waltham watches, because Waltham was doing all kinds of great things with watches, and they quit doing them because what they were doing was they they started off making good quality watches and are trying to work out how to use mass production, but keep the quality high, and they worked it out. But that was like 1849, and the Swiss were very concerned about it because a lot of people would rather have an American watch than a Swiss watch at the time, at least at Waltham. So what this one guy did, at Waltham, they hired this new product manager, and he kept lowering the price, but lowering the quality. I think, this, in a way, I think this is what Swatch has done to some extent. I think Patek Philippe has too, but equilibrium, Dominic, I'm not sure what is meant by an equilibrium. This is why I talk about when you got 9 million people and 340 million people, the big thing that keeps the American economy going is consumers. It's a very much consumer-based economy. So how do you come to equilibrium? I tell you one thing is that there are a lot of products that are, that some countries they will produce, and the government will give them tax breaks or incentives, and so that they can be on a more balanced playing field. That's done all over the world, and it works. The fact that the best-selling cars in the United States, I don't think are American cars. Uh, I'm not sure. I don't think so. I think they're probably Toyotas or Nissans or something like that. But that's not the point. What they were doing is that they kept improving the quality rather than trying to do exactly what Waltham had done with watches, which was to keep hoping to have a higher bottom line by cutting down the quality of the product. And yeah, there's something wrong with that. I agree. I mean, you don't have one person saying, "Okay, we got tariffs." I mean, isn't that supposed to go through Congress or something like that? That people can have a discussion about it rather than slapping these things and acting like something about, and anything other than 6 bankruptcies. You'd think that by that a person would learn something. Maybe not. Oh, he got an FP yarn. Wonder which one he got. The dollar watch. Yeah, cool. You're probably right. but they do it now, several Asian countries, and have been for years. Plus, in my opinion, China and legal are not two words I use in the same sentence. Well, yeah, they had the Chinese did crack down when they were bribing officials to get contracts and stuff. If it weren't for a train wreck, there wouldn't have been the Asian crisis. Yeah, 9/11, you're right. Yeah, yeah, that I agree, Dominic. That's something if you're going to do that. Um, I just want to point out that Bloomfield has a lot of room for H. Moser if they'd like to open up a factory, something like that. See, one of the interesting things that we're dealing with is that the higher the quality of watches, the more the you're talking about very limited numbers. And so the investment to make a limited number of products of any sort. Now, Nissan and Toyota, they're manufacturing a lot of things in the United States, but they're using parts that are all manufactured in Japan. And but I mean that I suppose is something. I think the whole idea that there are things where any country makes them, but one thing that has changed is the whole notion of natural resources. For example, if one of the natural resources are called rare metals, and they're the kinds of stuff that goes into computers and so forth, different kinds of things. And so that's considered a natural resource. So if you buy a natural resource that is, you dig up out of the ground and then you bring it and then you make a widget out of it, then that's sort of traditional economics. The kind of economics we're talking about now is that if you buy a product for a much less price and then you bring it to as your own, as your production, and you jack up the price based on the manufacturer price by 1,000 percent or something like that, and so you can make a good profit. So the natural resource, instead of being some kind of earth resource, is a human resource from different places, and that's I don't know. The economic course I took at MIT has convinced me that uh, the good thing about economics, for me at least, is that the math is simple. But the assumptions, I know why they call it the dismal science now. But even with that, I don't know of there's not an economist around worth his salt that's going to say tariffs was a good idea, because it's not. Every other time it's failed. And so right now we're sort of the leading edge of it because we have to basically change something in our economic behavior. Of course, that's the whole purpose of a tariff. I don't know. I got, uh, I suppose it's again a sort of crocodile tears crying about the price of a luxury watch. But the other thing is that even what the Swiss really sell a lot of to the rest of the world are pharmaceuticals. This is like a lot of the guys who started their own watch companies or money behind a watch company. They got fortunes in pharmaceuticals. Pascal Raffi, who had enough money to basically start Beauvais from scratch, including buying a castle that belonged to the original Beauvais family. He came from pharmaceuticals. The Sandoz Family Foundation that owns the whole vertical production of Parmigiani at the top and Vasseur and all of the rest. Most of their money is in pharmaceuticals. So we have, I don't know. I just it was it's not one of those things that we can apply, say, oh well, this is common sense. Well, common sense depends which common sense you have. So anyway. Oh yeah. I right now I tell you, I think see the thing is that they're using really simple-minded models that are outmoded. You get sort of an immediate satisfaction that people think they're being helped somehow. Oh boy, we're getting tough with these guys, and now we're going to solve it, and they're not. It's like I read an economic report that Fernando gave me, and it's just like, yeah, yeah, we're in for it. So uh, we'll survive somehow. Anyway, what else is new? Protectionism is not the way to go. Yeah, history teaches that. The tariffs are a complete dream. Yeah, I know. They have the it's like if all you got to do is, I mean, doesn't anybody read history? The last time the United States had big tariffs was in 1890s. Today we can, yeah, Dominic. Yeah, we can openly complain about it today, but look out. You better check your your status. They had some guy they took off who's a superintendent of schools who was I guess his legal status wasn't, this that thing is such a mess. Adding immigration to this, we have like God, it's really funny. Oh, the Smoot Harley tariff. I didn't remember that one. Oh boy. No, it wasn't that one, Jimmy. It was another one. Okay, time to jump in the frying pan. Hey, Junior. Okay. All right. Well, listen, looking forward to football this weekend and not thinking about much of anything else if I can help it. Uh, take care, you guys. Thanks for coming. Let's find out something. Let's get a really fun topic of something really good that's going on for 4 o'clock discussion. Something is talking about discoveries of fun things. Okay. Take care.